we've been preparing against YUBI a little bit by honestly just playing ourselves, not as a team as a whole, because we don't have a lot of scrims, and we mostly just keep everybody in shape and make sure everybody plays a few games. That's mostly how we're preparing, figuring out who's the actual carry of YUBI.
Sad Mummy on 3, okay, Death Ray, Chaos Storm going to go down, Bullet Tim's going to be returned, the Urgot's going to be the first to fall, as Bloon goes unstoppable, but he's going to be the lead. Street Smurf has to run away, he's got the Ghost Pop, but it's enough to get away from the Olaf. They're going to turn back in that top side, and it's going to be the Aatrox running down the rest of the team as Warplate goes over, but that's actually the triple, going over a Jet on this Misfortune. This could be the quadra. If you get this, not enough.
I'm feeling pretty good going into playoffs. It's not as good as last season, where I feel like we were noticeably better than the rest of the competition. We have some genuine threats that we need to go up against, but I'm looking forward to it. I think YOLO is a strong team because they have very strong solo laners and their AD carry is very good as well. It doesn't seem like their team coordination is all the way there, but they have some very serious threats in their players.
So YUBI as a team are really strong because they've been playing together for a while, especially in the Heroic League, whereas the other Mythic League are only playing in one league, so it's a bit, they're more coordinated, and like they know each other more, so it's easier for them to play without being actually good players.
We've been practicing some new picks, but realistically, we're prepping for this the way that we always do, where Utility Monster does 30 minutes of prep for each draft, and then the rest of us just full send it once we get on the Rift. I'm looking forward to take down Raph again. They've been trash talking a lot and saying that like YUBI and stuff like that, but we're up 2-0, and I think we're going to be up 5-0 by the end of today.
Going into the bot lane, Jeff Cut Gamer, I feel like it's going to be a stomp. KDA players don't really scares me, or Ryan, whatever the fuck his name is, this guy, he's just ADC slave. As a KDA player, he gonna do a lot as support, so we are not going to lose.
Hello everyone, and welcome to your semifinals matchup, Friend or Foe Season 6. We got Scaling Copium up against Universal Basic Income. I'm your color caster Zenzen, and joining me in the play-by-play role is Sherigan. Welcome in, friend.
Welcome. Yeah, sorry, I had a little bit of a technical glitch right there that caused me to just sort of, go poof, disappear for a couple of seconds, which I kind of expect to happen to one of these teams today. Not going to say which. I just kind of expect it to happen. But yeah, just we had a little bit of a delay. I'm excited to see this. We got Scaling Copium versus Universal. Overall, I expect some very strong showings from both teams, and I like the respect bans. We're already seeing the Olaf and the Vi being taken away. Two very powerful champions that just allow for a lot of, how shall I say, frustrating mechanics that you can have great counterplay against.
6 junglers banned away. Both of these teams really honing in on specific players in that jungle matchup. Bloon21, famous Ivern player, creates some weird strategies. YUBI going to take that one away right off the bat. One thing that I want to mention, Scaling Copium in the head-to-head in this game is 0-2 in the regular season against YUBI, and in large part it was due to the fact that Utility Monster got to play this Olaf that just ran through the enemy lines and killed Warplaque over and over and over. So going into this draft, I'm very excited to see that taken away immediately, as we see both teams look to grab their AD carry picks right off the bat. Caitlyn for Warplaque, and it looks like it might be an Ashe for Jeff God Gamer, but I would not be surprised. There we go. Let's go Blitzcrank for Brian Sang.
Yep, and we definitely know that's going to be on Brian Sang. Although I would love to see a Nautilus picked up here and have Blitz go into the jungle, just because of the craziness that would entail with the multiple hooks. Or if you throw a Thresh in there, you have the hook lantern combo that could just be hilarious as you drag them under tier 2 tower. But I think one of the things that YOLO needs to remember about YUBI is that it is not just how good Utility Monster is in the jungle. So getting rid of his champ pull is important, but it's his playmaking calls. The fact that he has forced his team to adhere to the Lolalytics drafting strategy, first of all, kind of proves he knows what he's doing whenever he's making sure that this team knows when to engage, where to start fights, and what objectives to go for. So I really like the lockdown that YOLO has drafted here with the Sejuani and the Morgana. It'll allow them a lot of opportunities where if YUBI decides to engage, to basically shut it down, start up their own version of the fight, and basically kind of delay what they need to while Caitlyn just gets off some extra damage. So I really need to see some good picks on these next two that are coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, Scaling Copium has gotten one of the premier bottom lanes. Caitlyn Morgana, extraordinarily powerful for such a long period of League's history. Also a great pickup into the Blitzcrank as well. So I'm very interested, these bottom lanes promise a lot of action, right? It is on Brian saying to prove that this Blitzcrank is worth picking in the early rounds, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do. As we move on to the second half of the draft, Red on the signature Urgot, a character that he has some absurd win rate in ranked, throwing down the gauntlet to Smoke Swag, and I'm curious to see what they're going to have to answer it. Looks like YUBI going to go ahead and ban out now towards Street Smurf's mid pool, the Swain taken away, and the Scion as well for Smoke Swag, a character that Red historically absolutely hates to play against, so not going to see that one on the table for game one.
We're not going to see it on the table for game one. We might see it slip through the bans in later stages. And I'm YUBI's comp right now looks so comfortable. They are champions that we have seen every single member on this team, except for maybe the Ashe. The Ashe wasn't quite as flashy as Jeff usually likes to go for, but it's still a very solid pick. But overall, just YUBI's draft right now is very much this is the champs that we are feeling very, very confident on. These are the champs that we will absolutely destroy any opponent with. And with the Maokai pickup, that's just secured even more. Interesting choice, because I'm not entirely sure where that champion would go, because usually you would expect to see that in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm reasonably confident that, after having conversations with Red, he hates playing Maokai. So even though this is this is theoretically a flex, I almost assuredly expect this Maokai to go into the jungle for Utility Monster. Again, this is going to be his 6th best jungler since Scaling Copium has banned 5 straight champions out of Utility Monster's pool. And it's going to allow Bloom21 to pick up the Lilia, which is, very powerful in their own right, able to get a lot of damage out and provides a great, way to initiate in this team. I do worry, however, because with this lock-in, playing into a Maokai, you just get point and click rooted, and then all of your mobility sort of goes kaput.
Yeah, and considering the fact that she needs a little bit of a spacing between her and her target to really get that damage off with the Q, it's going to be really kind of touch and go there. She is going to be able to get some burn damage, absolutely. But again, you look at YOLO's draft, you look at what YUBI has finally finished off by picking the Vex here in the very end. I am not feeling very safe for YOLO. I feel like YOLO should not feel safe right now. There is a lot of scary engage on the side of YUBI. A lot of, okay, we're hitting the go button. Ready or not, here we come. So it's just kind of like they're really gonna be on the back foot. YOLO has to do something playmaking wise in order to make sure they maintain tempo of this game.
Yeah, I think YUBI. I've mentioned this on broadcast before, but I think one of the great strengths of this team is that they somehow managed to draft the exact same composition every game for 2 years. And this is no different, right? They're playing a team fight centric composition. Everyone is sort of focused on moving forward together, which is a great strength for what they have. I am interested with what Scaling Copium has drafted. They definitely have the more difficult composition to play, but they also have more versatility in the way that things going. My eyes are drawn to Street Smurf on this mid lane Aurelia pick, because if he is able to get ahead, this opens the opportunity for Scaling Copium to send Aurelia into the side lane and beat up on Urgot and maybe split the map apart and try and take away YUBI's fundamental strength.
Maybe so. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that ends up playing out. It's really kind of, there's really only so much you can say here looking at just the draft without hopping onto the Rift in order to kind of know what's going on. Looks like we got a bit of a short pause that we got to wait through first, but I'm not really. I'm trying to come up with something that I'm really excited for on YOLO's comp because unfortunately I see the Blitzcrank, I see the Urgot. Those are two scary hooks that if they hit you, one of them is going to kill you instantaneously. The other one is going to kill you instantaneously after you've lost a certain amount of health.
So I think what's interesting to me looking at these two drafts is that in the early game, the bottom half of Scaling Copium, that's their bot lane as well as the jungler from Blue 21 have a lot of agency in this game. Caitlyn Morgana will almost assuredly have permanent push into Ashe Blitzcrank as long as they don't get hooked. And so that's going to allow Bloon to have a lot of mobility in the bottom half of the map. I'm interested to see where Bloon spends his time because you can choose to spend that time, power farming if you're on the Lilia. I'm not quite sure whether this Lilia is going top or jungle. I assume Lilia is in the jungle. But you can spend that time either power farming and trying to outpace Maokai, or you can try and play a gank heavy play style and try to shut down this Vex, who I think compositionally is very difficult for Scaling Copium to answer. So if they can shut it down early, that may open up an opportunity for them to snowball the game.
Very well might. So if they can get that snowball going, it'll definitely be really important. And then you get that Aurelia in there, get a nice good stun that manages to connect to 3 or 4 different members of YUBI. You can save any ADC that got caught by the Blitzcrank. So that might be something that we'll need to see if Smoke Swag is able to keep an eye out for, because that would be an absolutely clutch play. In the meantime, I expect a lot of objective control out of YUBI. I expect Utility Monster to be roaming around that map, kind of knowing exactly where he needs to be and attacking the particular targets they need to be attacking. So it'll be difficult, I think, for Bloon 21, but Bloon's shown that they do have some pretty good game sense. So I expect him to be able to provide some form of wall against whatever Utility Monster battering ram that ends up showing up.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to hop in a game here. Something else that I want to mention as we, approach this game, some storyline stuff here. Street Smurf has not missed a final. In every friend or foe that he has chosen to participate in, this man does not miss. Going up against YUBI, perennial 3-time champions, masterful characters who just have gotten art after art after art out of Chris Sunga. So this is really going to be a battle for the ages, and I cannot wait to see who comes out on top. Oh man, looks like it's just gonna start with a fan though to keep things nice.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed not seeing the 5-man invade come out of YUBI, but because that's the staple of a Blitzcrank. You pick Blitzcrank, you expect a level 1 invade, but unfortunately, I guess they're kind of that's just too obvious. So we'll do the big brain play and not go for the 5-man invade there.
Yeah, I'm also interested. We haven't talked about it much yet, Sherigan, but I'm also interested in this top lane matchup, Smoke Swag and YUBI Red. In the regular season, Red was comfortably ahead of Smoke Swag in sort of a carry-on-carry matchup, usually about 10 CS in one game and about 20 CS up at 10 minutes. But this time, Smoke Swag has taken a different dimension to this matchup. He's playing the Sejuani a more supportive role, and I'm interested to see if that will give him more success. Because I think that Sejuani with Lilia has excellent gank setup, particularly post-6. So I'm interested to see if Bloon will path that way up there and really try to put Red behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it's really kind of interesting that you mentioned that, because the Sejuani matchup is going to be really important to this Urgot. I feel early on it's going to do very, very well, but as this game progresses, the Urgot's slowly going to start shredding through that health bar very, very quickly. So it's going to be something you need to watch out for. And if you are just letting Brian Sane hook you like that, that is going to be a lot of free damage onto Warplaque. Jeff God already starting this off strong. I mean, they're down 3 CS, but that doesn't really matter when your opponent's health bar is basically non-existent already, and they're having a pop.
Yeah, Warplaque gonna have to make use of the fleet footwork and the potion. We'll be able to sustain this up slowly, but a second hook from Brian, particularly while Frozen Aegis doesn't have the Black Shield memorized, unlocked, will be tough. Meanwhile,
Got a nice fight here in the top lane. Red getting Smoke Swag exceptionally low. Not going to be enough to pick up that kill. That is a massive wave now that Red has access to and is going to be able to basically free farm, kind of forcing the Sejuani to back at a very inopportune time. They do not have flash, so any hard engage is going to be really, really difficult to get out of for Smoke Swag.
Yeah, this is absolutely disastrous for Smoke Swag. Does not have the flash available, so really has to respect the all-in from Red. And the wave is being frozen on him. Red, very, very intelligent gamer. And Utility Monster is finishing his clear up in this top side. So Smoke Swag has to play incredibly cautiously here. Red, fortunately, is a little bit low on mana, so he may be able to shove this wave in and reset things out. But this is a very, very dangerous place to be as a top laner.
It is terrifying. And I mean, it's really good to see the very good use of the shield by Red in order to maintain their position here. We do see Sejuani looking to get this ward on this Tri-Brush. They are going to walk right over to it, but Utility Monster's waiting right there for them. Gets the slow, but no hard engage from Red to continue this. And in the meantime, we do see Bloon pushing in on the bot side. Flash coming out from Frozen Aegis a little bit early. The Q does not go off in time, so Jeff God is able to flash away. Very well done by this YUBI bot lane in order to avoid getting caught out.
Yeah, I actually really like the flash from Morgana, right? That's like a jump scare tactic. You flash ahead aggressively and you think that your opponent's going to come in here. But look at this, first gank for UM.
Utility with the return gank onto this full health. Smoke Swag gets the nice knockback. We do see the slow already starting to go down, but first blood's going to happen in the bot lane. We'll have to check that out here in just a second. In the meantime, fight in the top lane. Smoke Swag brought down super low. That is going to be a good bit of damage coming out, and that is going to be a kill. Not quite in time for that bot lane, but that is going to be first blood across the map. Let's see what happened here.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the bottom lane play here. So this is what we saw earlier. Black Shield going to be burned out of here. Bloon going to exit and leave, perhaps to take that top crab, or that crab. And then I assume Brian's going to hit a hook here, and that's going to change things out. We'll have to see. Okay, Binding is down for Frozen, so that's not going to be an option here. And I believe it's just going to be Brian's aggression. Yes, beautiful hook. Sets up the knockup. Black Shield not available yet. So that's the immediate trade. Warplack has to force in. And that's not gonna he's not gonna live long enough here. Brian with the flash will secure it.
Will secure that, so that is going to be the 2 kills in the bot lane, and Bloon's going to try and get Brian saying they just want revenge. Like, you can just tell. Bloon is like, I want to avenge my laners. I wasn't quite there. I kind of expected to see Lilia return to kind of try and get a little bit of engage there. Doesn't quite manage it, though. Good job by Civillock in order to drop that fear at the last possible second in order to kind of prevent the Aurelia from jumping on top of him.
Yeah. And this is a really tough matchup for Street Smurf. You know, talking with the members of UB, they feel like they have a bunch of counter picks to play into Street Smurf's champion pool, and Vex is an absolute menace against these like high mobility characters that Street Smurf like to play, like the Aurelia, like the LeBlanc. And so it's really, the onus is on Street Smurf to navigate this matchup exceptionally well in order to generate a CS lead and maybe, you know, unlock himself out on the map.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see here decent chunks of damage across the map. You know, funny enough, it's even despite the kills, it's still a relatively quiet game. Not a lot of hard pushes on either of these lanes into the towers. So I kind of expect this game to be dragged out in the sense of YUBI might be going for their 7 Drake play.
Well, historically, you know, the matchup between these two teams, they have looked very even for most of the laning phase. These two teams are well matched lane to lane. They do battle quite well. The real part where UB runs ahead time and time again is on their objective control. They just seem to know exactly what they
good
need.
Engage by Red here in the top lane. He's going to be trying to beat this wave down, hoping to get level 6. He's going to get brought so low, though. Too low, but
he hit 6!
Manages to get the execute. Very well.
He doesn't.
The kill, Sejuani doesn't manage to make it. Oh my goodness.
The Ignite kills Red as he levels up to 6 to try and execute Smoke Swag. Smoke Swag, knowing the numbers, knows he has the minion advantage and is able to take down Red and turn that lane around. That's crazy.
I completely misread that fight. Oh my goodness. Talk about a Uno reverse card. Yeah,
Smurf.
it is gonna mean that there is a good priority down here in this bot lane to take this first Hextech Drake. YOLO seems to be pressing their advantage very, very well. They kind of know what they're doing. They know what they're doing here, but at the same time, in the top lane, we do see that Utility Monster's looking to get this first Rift Herald. So that might be something that they're able to take advantage of.
Yeah, he's gonna have to make the cross map play happen. But again, these two guys
oh my
are
goodness,
down to
right
scrap.
here in the top lane again. The disdain is not enough for Red. The shield does not keep him alive. Smoke Swag is just burning him to ashes, and that is unfortunate.
This is wild to me. Going into this matchup, I was fairly confident that Red on the signature Urgot would know exactly what his damage thresholds are. But you can see Smoke Swag, once he gets those early items, that the early laning power is really coming in huge for him. Picking up 2 solo bolos is a huge, huge winning sign for this team.
Okay, that is going to be a hard engage onto this bot lane. Brian saying is going to be looking for the hook. Does manage to catch it around the minions. Darkbind is going to lock him in place. The Corrupted Ground as well. That is going to be Bloon picking up the kill. Jumping in on top. We see Ash put to sleep under their own tower.
Oh.
But here we come. The trees are here. Utility Monster looking for the engage. Cleanse is going to come out. Warplack, though, is going to get jumped on by Vex. Civilox doing so much damage. The Ignite's going to take them away. That is going to be their life gone. Could be looking for a tower dive here. Utility Monster taking the tower. Civilox not going to continue the engage, though. And that is just going to be the minion wave falling as we see YUBI back off, making this game even now at a 5-for-5 with only a 500 gold lead.
Yeah, this is exactly what I expected from these two teams. A lot of early scrapping, but in the end, it is still YOLO who's coming out on top with the Dragon
Brian with the dodge, the knock up, the Glacial doing so much to slow them down. The hook coming out, the Ash Arrow, Street Smurf just having to burn everything to stay alive.
Oh my goodness. The absolute patience from Brian and Jeff, just waiting and waiting and waiting on those skill shots until the absolute last moment.
And we got a fight going on here in the top lane. Red disrespecting the Sejuani damage and finding that they are not able to survive under their own tower.
What is happening right now, Sherigan? I thought that I knew for sure how these two teams were going to interact in the top side. I assumed that Red would be up a comfortable 10 to 15 CS, and he has been solo killed 3 times. One of the best top laners in the league, arguably the best, one of the most accomplished players, as well as a heroic champion, now finding himself on the back foot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, on the back foot is not a position I think that we often see him playing for the weak side, like knowing that the rest of the team is going to be pulling him up. So he's used to that. And he is falling behind out, but that Urgot is going to become really useful later as it has an instant kill on a lot of these targets that are going to have a decent chunk of health. So we could be seeing that as this game progresses, it's going to be more of a utility Urgot rather than a damage-dealing Urgot. That's probably what they're hoping for. Although, just interestingly enough, Brian's saying could throw a blind hook here. He's known for it. Does drop the ward. Is just kind of looking for the gauge. Decides not to take the advantage, though. There we go. Well, those side steps are so painful when you're a Blitzcrank. Oh, and gets caught by the Dark Binding. The Ash Arrow, though, onto Warplack means that Morgana has to change targets. We have Brian doing a good job to body block the ultimate from Caitlyn. Warplack flashing onto the tower. Oh. Huge hook by Brian, saying as Jeff God picks it up. But we got the double kill under the tower by the Blitz.
Yeah, look at the end of this play. Warplack trying to get the last bit of damage. Misses the Q, though, and doesn't have the damage to secure the kill. Brian able to turn things around, and this is why this UB bottom lane is so gosh darn powerful. Meanwhile,
oh my goodness, in a fight here in the top lane, huge ultimate just going to cause Bloon to get executed as they get eaten alive by the Red. They are ground into dust. And again, we see Utility trying to push this engage, but unfortunately does not have the follow-up, so the fight does not continue. Civilox now barely getting caught out by Street Smurf, does manage to just sidestep everything. This is just a game of juke sticks all around.
Yeah, Street Smurf, you can see that he's trying to put on the pressure onto Civilox, try to get those early solo kills, but, Civilox with the suede shoes just able to duck and dodge away from the ultimate. But still, a ton of action back on the map. I have to say, Red and Utility Monster turning things around on that top side is absolutely massive, because I feel that if Urgot is not given proper attention, you can start to see the top lane advantage to snowball to the rest of the map, right? We already saw Balloon 21 able to pick up the early Rift Trail because they had priority in that top side. So fixing those problems and starting to be there and support his team is really great to see, as Infernal Dragon is on the eyes for both teams.
Yes, and I feel like that this is going to be a Drake that both teams definitely want. However, priority is currently in the hands of YUBI. They are starting to ping and position themselves around it. Could be looking for a sneaky take right here. Moving up towards this mid lane, they might be trying to get a pick off first. We do see Bloon dropping the Rift Herald in the mid lane to force that prio, and then we have the Ash Arrow finding the target. So much damage coming out so quickly on that poor Lilia. Not a tanky champion at all. And now that the jungler is dead, that is a very good call for this dragon, as we're going to see YUBI basically having to kind of fight for it, but they're not really 50-50ing it because they've got the smite up.
Yeah, this is just too scary for scaling Copium to be able to do. Once you lose that jungler, it just becomes incredibly difficult, especially with the composition that YUBI has drafted for themselves. If they are allowed to set up in an area with the Blitzcrank hook and the Maokai ultimate, it just becomes impossible to defend.
Ooh, could be seeing something here in the bot lane happening. We do see Smokeswag trying to get that last hit onto the tower. They are pulled underneath, and unfortunately, the execution is going to be too much. They did not get the Demolisher proc off to destroy the tower in time, so that means Red finally gets revenge, gets themselves some gold. They're going to be loving that.
Yeah, and they are back in the game and fully online. After this recall, we'll have the Titanic Hydra to match the Frozen Fist from Smokeswag. And really, these last couple minutes have really proved the strength of YUBI as a team. They are so good at making these group decisions, choosing when and where to fight. And
oh no, Red getting burned away, going to be put to sleep, lilting dreams going away, and just look at that health bar disappear. Meantime, Utility Monster is going to be going in onto this bot lane, does manage to root down the Warp Flag. Cleanse coming out. That is going to unfortunately not be enough. We see Ash picking up the kill. Jeff God coming online. Utility Monster picking up the Caitlyn, and that is going to be a lot more prio on this UB team as they just start to run away with the game.
Yeah, and Bloon doesn't even secure the kill topside. Has to burn the flash in the 1v1 against a flashless Red, who has not completed their item.
Oh no, we got the lockdown, the dodge out. Red trying to stay alive, trying to keep Sejuani under the tower long enough to get that kill. Unfortunately, they are not going to be able to do it. The shutdown is going to go over to him. In the meantime, we got to fight here in the mid lane. Street Smurf manages to go down. The Blade Dance was not enough. Utility Monster diving under the tower, tanking things yet again. So while YOLO finds something top lane, they lose so much more mid.
This Maokai is a massive problem for this team. Utility Monster running lane to lane, and just that singular point-and-click route is enough to completely ruin both Lilia and Aurelia. Everything that they want to do completely shut down by one character, and it looks like YOLO is going to need to come up with a strategy to either avoid interacting with this Maokai or perhaps pick it off before a fight starts, because right now it's looking too strong.
It is looking way too strong, absolutely. And now as we look at this map and we start to see the objectives coming online, a Mountain Drake is going to be the soul of the game. And for both of these teams, they would absolutely love it. YUBI would love it because it just means that their snowball becomes that much harder to stop. Well, in the meantime, YOLO would absolutely be devastated right here, getting caught out. Warp Black brought so low. Brian saying got too big for his britches zone, has to fight 4v1. Jeff is going to be able to get away, but that's going to be the shutdown as we see Balloon 21 picking up that goal.
Yeah, teleport burn from Street Smurf. Very, very intelligent. Finally, an unambiguous win for the side of scaling Copium. However, Smokeswag committing to this bottom side does mean that Red will be able to pick up the top lane turret uncontested. So YUBI still holding on to a slight advantage despite the free kill.
Yep, they have lost two. YOLO has lost 2 turrets, and now Smokeswag has to deal with the TPing Urgot. They are going to be able to jump out, get away. The Crystal Arrow is going to go wide, just a little bit too late. Smokeswag able to get out of sight. Unfortunately, we could be seeing another skirmish here in the bot lane. Red, again, pressing the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, just has finally completed those items that give him the staying power. The Mercury Tread's an excellent choice for this game, particularly in the 1v1. And this is the point of the game where Smokeswag would really like to get unlocked on the map, right?
And
Sejuani is a
unfortunately, Yubi's not
phenomenal
letting it
team
happen.
fighter, but he's going to be stuck here as Rift Herald is propped up.
That hook is devastating. They didn't even have any idea that's where Brian Singh was, and that is going to be a kill. They have lost position on this Rift Herald, though, so they're going to have to turn around. Utility Monster dropping down the roots. So much coming out. The dodging of the Vex ultimate means that, unfortunately, we are not going to be seeing Vex diving in on this backline. We do see Civillock take down Balloon 21. However, that is going to be a Street Smurf deleted from this game. Warplack getting absolutely shredded. Huge Bolo is going to find a target, locking Civillock in place. Jimcut, though, ignoring the Sejuani, hitting them in the back, means they're going to go down. Civillock is going to have to be the one who finishes off Warplack, and that is going to be Smokeswag dismantling this team. Civillock saved by the Brian Sang, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough as this Sejuani has become massive. Smokeswag is devastating Yubi's backline.
Yeah, huge win for Scaling Copium in a fight that looked so incredibly dicey. To kick things off, Frozen Aegis immediately picked away. Blind hook from Brian Sang into that bush, by the way. Had no vision whatsoever, just throws it, sends it, gets the kill right off the bat. But it is Smokeswag and Warplack, these two members who are coming up big in this game, able to finesse their way around the fight one character at a time, secure the kill on Jeff God, secure the kill on Civillock, and Balloon 21 even picks up the Rift Herald. Now, all eyes are on this dragon as both teams rush to fight once again.
Yeah, both teams are rushing down there. We do see that the Rift Herald has been dropped, so it's already starting to create a little bit of pressure in this mid lane. While the rest of YUBI looking to maintain their prio on this river. They have given up a little bit of control, but there's just a lot of fighting happening around this choke point with the control wards in this dragon pit do mean that they're able to see each other. The dragon was started up, so it starts to attack Brian Singh, forcing him out of that optimal advantage, which means that Red is going to get caught by a Bolo, getting completely frozen in place. YUBI right now on the back foot, being forced away. Red is just way too low. We see the YOLO push the engage. Massive hook brings Smokeswag to Brian Singh, and unfortunately to Red as well, as they're going to be forcing a fight around this Sejuani. That is going to be some health bars deleted, though, as it's a 3v1. Look at that, the shutdown going over to YUBI Red. The dragon is still alive. The health bars, though, are kind of on the side of YUBI right now. Aurelia is sitting over here, keeping the rest of YUBI off. There we go. Street Smurf and Frozen Aegis are able to keep them from going for this Drake, which means that it's going to be a nice one for YOLO to take. They are going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, 2-1 favoring kills for Scaling Copium, and they pick up the dragon as well. This is looking to be a real series in this match. Flash burned as well from YUBI Red on the way out. So they are continuing to scrap and find these fights. This is where this composition falls apart. If YUBI is not the first one to initiate a play, it is much harder for their team to play. The Blitzcrank is not nearly as effective as appealing defensive character as he is an aggressive character. And as we saw, you know, once Smokeswag is able to lock down a single target like Red, you can do enough damage to them to force them out of the fight and, you know, win the fight before it even starts.
Yeah, you know, I may have been doubting YOLO a little bit too hard early on in this draft phase. We could be seeing it very easily picked up. Oh!
Bloon. Bloon. Come on, buddy. You got to go back. You got to go back and finish your job. Like, I know it's embarrassing, but you just got to do the thing.
You really do. You really do.
Is he just going to leave it?
I think he's going to leave it for now. I don't think he's going to. He might go back for it now. Okay, he's going back. He's going back. Okay. He's finishing it off.
Okay.
Meantime, we're going to be seeing, I think, a little bit of a fight here in this mid lane as we have 4 members of YUBI just kind of hovering around it. Nope, now 3. We do see the Sejuani starting to drift off. Great vision control by both of these teams, in all honesty, and I think that's been kind of playing a huge factor in some of these fights.
Yeah.
Oh, I do see the engage onto the Blitzcrank, but not really too much there.
Yeah, so this is the first opportunity that we've had 20 minutes in this game. This is the first time that Street Smurf has had the opportunity to split push in a side lane for a little bit, but he doesn't have the vision to protect himself, so he's going to go ahead and back off on this wave. But this is a dimension of Scaling Copium's composition that I would like to see them exploit more, right? Sejuani so far has looked totally fine in the 1v1 against Red. So between that and Street Smurf, you have 2 split pushers, and they really, on the side of YUBI, really only have one. You can send Civillock into the side lane, but that's not where he'd prefer to be. He wants to be duking out and fighting people with the Vex. So this is a dimension to their strategy. They can pull the map apart, and that might allow them those opportunities to find those picks and start those fights early on their own terms.
Yeah, and it's going to be really important for YUBI to make sure that they're able to force these fights where YOLO doesn't want them. Smokeswag taking some damage here is going to mean that they do not have the shields or the slow immunity as Utility Monster hops over. However, he is spotted out by a ward, which is going to mean Smokeswag knows that they need to back off. Meantime, though, we're looking here in the top lane. A nice stop of the back by YUBI Red, but right now Civillock gonna get engaged on hard by Aurelia. Streetsmurf diving under this tower, taking 3 tower shots, brought very, very low. Probably a little bit lower than they expected to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is why this Vex is so powerful. And honestly, moving later on in this draft, or into this series, I would not be surprised to see Street Smurf ban away the Vex. Oh my goodness.
That hook just manages to catch the Morgana. We do see the gun going, so they are able to stay alive. Frozen Aegis is able to does eventually go down. Utility Monster picking up a kill. And in the meantime, so does Blitzcrank. So Brian Sang is out of this fight. Massive Caitlyn Ultimate is going to try and find the ace in the hole. Does not manage to do it. We see Street Smurf brought stupidly low as Ash is just absolutely shredding their backline. Jeff doing so much damage. Unfortunately, there's not enough of a front line to prevent this Sejuani from ripping through those health bars. Jeff killed by the burn from Bloon21 means that is going to be Vex all that's left for this fight, and I have a feeling that there's not a lot this poor little Yordle's going to be able to do. Does get hit, manages to get the explosive return kill on the Lilia thanks to their burst damage, but unfortunately they're going to have to use the flash to jump over that wall, looking for the engage in the mid lane. Doesn't manage to find it. That is going to be an unfortunate miss as that mid lane turret does fall. Smokeswag has become a monster this game.
Yeah, Smokeswag absolutely crushing it. Honestly, every single member of YOLO stepping up to make their uncomfortable team fight work, right? Street Smurf absorbs so much pressure at the beginning of that play, continuing to dash in and out. Yeah, that's just gonna be a canceled recall, which is important because Dragon is spawning and Street Smurf does not have the teleport. But back to sing their praises, they are making this composition work. They are fighting against this massive team fight pressure and are only down about 1,000 gold as we approach the 24-minute mark.
Absolutely doing a great job to maintain their engage. Frozen Aegis have to use the Black Shield a little unnecessarily, but that is going to be down for a decent chunk of time. Decent chunk of time as we once again see YUBI trying to start up this Drake. They are ceding a little bit of control for this river. Smokeswag looking for the engage, does lose the armor advantage, is getting rooted. However, we're going to see Red take down the dragon, so that's gone. And unfortunately, Smokeswag is not in a position they want to be, taking damage. But look at Street Smurf dismantling the YUBI backline, dismantling all of those health bars as those blades just cut through everything like a hot knife through butter. And that means we're going to be seeing an ace for YOLO as they take YUBI down.
Street Smurf unlocked in that fight, finally able to enter in once all of the main crowd control abilities have been taken off the table. Utility Monster trying to use the Maokai ultimate early means that Street Smurf is able to move forward after that ability gets used, and this is going to secure for them both a Baron and a tier 2 bottom turret. Huge win for Scaling Copium as they, for the first time, take the gold lead in this match.
We have, unfortunately, a disconnect for Aurelia as they, looks like they reconnected right away. TP is not being used by Red. They are not going in to try and stop this. They are going for the Street Smurf instead. They do manage to take them down. So that means that is going to be a nice, like a little bit of gold in their pocket. But the Baron buff is gone, or Baron is gone, so it's over to the side of YOLO. That's going to be a really tough push that YUBI has to fight against.
And I mean, getting
by the way,
the teleport from Red was fantastic as well, because the one member that is perhaps the most important person to have the Baron buff on is Street Smurf on the Aurelia, right? This is the character who has the has the items to duel anyone in the side lane and would be the one that you would want, pushing up that side waves. That being said, Smoke Swag, teleport back available, might be able to fulfill the role once again. It is up to Brian Sang and Utility Monster, these playmaking characters on the side of YUBI, to stop this push in its tracks, try to get a pick off before they lose more structures.
Exactly, and defending their structures is going to be kind of difficult because you don't have a lot left that's going to be easy to defend. With everything being pushed back to these inhibitor turrets, except for that tier 2 top lane tower, there's not a lot. You can't really afford to roam out on these map and push these lanes too hard. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly how YUBI decides to do it. We can see right here they've got a little bit of positioning, but no vision control.
Yeah, Smoke Swag.
Ooh, Brian does manage to hook onto the Sejuani. They do find the tankiest member of YOLO to beat down, and they are able to rip them to shreds as the 5 men descend. Caitlyn sidestepping and dropping the cleanse accidentally means that they're going to have to flash over this wall. Warplack is so low right now and in such a dangerous position. We do see yet another Baron buff gone, so that's just now down to 3. And look at the damage being dealt to this Brian Sang from all of those burns. Ace in the hole going to get fired out. Does not quite have enough to get the kill. But that is really, really close.
Yeah, Scaling Copium playing a little bit impatiently there. They know that their objective is that top lane tier 2, but unfortunately Smoke Swag out a little bit too far forward relative to his teammates. Brian Sang makes the hero play and prevents any of these structures from going down. Now, YUBI with the man advantage is going to be able to fend this off, no problem.
Yeah, something to note about this Morgana too that I think we need to point out is that the Dark Seal has 8 stacks on it, and that Leandry's burn is doing so much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Bloom.
Oh, the missed hook on Bloom means that Brian's going to have to walk up and do the uppercut. Unfortunately, it's just the 2 tanky members. Utility Monster does not have the health. He only has a health bar. He does not have the defenses to survive all of that. So much damage was dealt so quickly to an out-of-place utility and Brian Sang, which means that this massive push right here is going to be so devastating to YOLO. They do manage to pull Morgana under the tower, but she's just going to go golden and stay alive. The suppression! Red picking up the execute. Warplack going down as the war leader is gone from the side of YOLO. And that shutdown is devastating for YOLO.
YOLO play a little bit too over aggressive. They see the weakness in YUBI. Utility Monster stepping forward once again, as we've seen him do so many times. He's just slightly too far ahead of his team, gets caught out, but it is YOLO who plays too far forward, gets into tower range, and that is the moment for YUBI to turn things around. Now YUBI will have the opening push once again towards Dragon number 5, and I have to say it, Sherrigan, if we get the rest of the series like this, we're here for a banger of a match.
Oh my goodness, it is going to be quite a while, Staff. You better buckle in because we're going to be up going for quite some time. Next Mountain Drake is going to be started up here in just a couple of seconds. I do not expect this to survive for very long at all. There we go. Not going to see enough time for Lilia to come get this Drake. So that is going to be right into YUBI's pocket. So many more resistances on their side. They will love that because there has been some devastating damage coming out from the side of YOLO. Unfortunately, Brian Sang mispositioned, getting jumped on by the Smoke Swag. They're trying to disengage, but not going to be able to find it. We see so much come out, and that Blitzcrank is dismantled. That is one go button gone on the side of YUBI. Red getting hit by the secondary hit of that flail does mean they're slowed a little bit. They do manage to escape. Now we're just looking for another engage from YOLO. They want to go in on this. You can tell. You can hear the blood rushing to their heads.
Yeah, I actually really like this call. They know that they have the man up, so they're going to finally try and take out this second tier 2 top tower. This is the easiest objective for them to take, and with the man advantage, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Great binding over the wall, predicting where he was going to be thanks to that excellently placed ward. Utility Monster is going to go in onto Smoke Swag, does manage to get some roots off, is not going to be able to get away though. There's so many bindings, so much easy. Massive ultimate onto Blue 21 means that they're going to be going down. Civilox is going to take them out of the equation. Ash managing to finish off Street Smurf does mean that Jeff God is able to pick themselves up a massive shutdown. Smoke Swag once again trying to get away.
Here's
that
Brian.
Huge health bar is a great benefit to them, but it is almost gone. Brian looking for the side angle, is going to get in range for the hook, throws it out, does not find a target though.
Yeah, but look at this. Baron on the table in 28 seconds. This will allow Yubi to once again get get the early push around the objective. And, unfortunately for Team YOLO, they're trying to spread themselves too thin in these engagements. You see Street Smurf diving onto the backline, but the rest of his team has to try and protect this Caitlyn. And what it ultimately means is that Red is able to secure these kills and just stay as this massive frontline threat. And ultimately, it is Yubi who is walking away with the W, and now they have advantage on the Baron.
If we're talking about a roller coaster, this match is definitely one of them. I mean, I have gone up and down all over the place. We have great vision control by UB on this Baron, but unfortunately, Red is going to be caught out. There are no TPs on the side of UB in order to come help assist, and that means that we're going to just see the vision here. Baron might get started up by YOLO.
Yeah, they don't have the wards
No, they
just
don't have
yet.
the wards or the vision controls, so they are going to choose to back off, but that is a lot of lost vision for the side of UB, just as we see YOLO pushing in on there.
I cannot believe that Red lives. Bloon, unfortunately, not able to get the sleep to follow up through the fog, does mean that Urgot lives to see another day, as both teams sort of, take a moment to do their chores, do their homework. They got to go, catch up their side waves and make sure that they're farming up a storm. Neither team feels ready to commit to the Baron, and honestly, I understand that, because in a game this close, playing aggressively towards that objective could easily spell the end of the game for one team or another. Both teams want to play it safe and not risk it too much just yet.
Exactly. So much patience has to be on both of these teams in order to make sure that they don't make the wrong play. We do see that the Civilox spell shield was burst down, so that they're going to have to wait for that to come off of cooldown. That is a massive timer that they have to worry about, because Vex really needs that right now. She's going to be diving in on this backline to be able to survive the initial CC that would lock them in place. Meantime, Utility Monster might be getting themselves caught out, as four members of YOLO could be looking to converge onto this Maokai.
I think he'll be able to walk on out of here. Scaling Copium doesn't have the vision in this area, so it's very dangerous for them to immediately charge forward. They haven't seen either Jeff Godgamer or Brian Singh on the map all that recently. That said, I really like how they're transitioning their vision here over to this bottom side. They know that if they can stop this soul from happening, they will be in a much better position to win this game. So they're going to converge on that. My question is, where does UB go here? Do they contest for the Dragon Vision, or do they push onto the Baron?
Well, it would mean that they aren't able to get the soul, but they do avoid soul point, so they're able to, if they decide to go for that split objective take, it might be something they think is more optimal. However, seeing this massive push in this mid lane here makes me think that they're going to try and pressure this Dragon.
Yeah, this has put them in an interesting position. Street Smurf rejoining up with the team, doesn't want to push the side lane too much. Dragon up in 20 seconds, and this will almost assuredly be the game-deciding fight. A clean win here secures victory in game one for either.
Great placement of the Caitlyn traps does mean that makes it very difficult for UB to find a good engage. Maokai has hit the go button. There goes the ultimate. It is not going to find any targets whatsoever, but we do see that UB has taken control of the river. However, they have a lot of stuff that is not on cooldown right there. Utility Monster on the backline. Massive stun is missed by Aurelia. Street Smurf not able to find their target. Vex finds the engage, jumps in on top of him. We are now seeing health bar after health bar getting deleted, as unfortunately YOLO has the damage advantage. But look at that. Vex managed to finding the pick. Now we got Brian saying getting a good hook.
Still hitting.
They went golden. Warplaque shredded by the health bar, and unfortunately it is not enough, as we see YOLO has managed to take it, and this could be a game-ending push. Walking into a unfortunate Utility Monster placed little sapling does mean that Warplaque cannot continue that, but that is going to be Dragon taken and no counter objective.
Yeah, this is a huge win. They might
This is both.
They might try to do both. Now, 16 seconds left on a Utility Monster. I don't believe Warplaque does this fast enough, so I think Utility Monster will be up, and Red has the teleport. This is going to be a very, potentially dangerous Baron. That said, no teleport wards available. Red would have to TP to the minion wave up top, and they might not know that it's happening just yet.
Nah, this Baron is gone. There's no way that Yubi can respond in time. It is just going to get absolutely deleted.
All right, so the double burn, double Leandries being absolutely enough, and This is now the ball is once again back in Scaling Copium's court. We have seen them with the Baron buff earlier in this match. They were unable to convert with it. This time, however, all 5 members have the Baron, including that crucial Aurelia. So now is the time for them to try and crack the base.
This is going to be an easy egg to crack too. I think it's not like they're holding it sideways. Unfortunately for YUBI, they just have been a little bit off their engages. Their placement has just not been quite what they want, and so they have not been able to force the fights to happen in the manner that they need it to happen, which has just caused YOLO to be able to find these nice little, okay, we are losing the initial fight, but we're going to win the war.
Yeah, I really think that a lot of pressure must be on Utility Monster right now. This Maokai is so crucial to the team's success. Without it, they don't have reliable engage. So if he's unable to land the ultimate at a good time, he ends up, Scaling Copium can just kite backwards, and then they clean up the fight because they have too many threats, and there's not enough damage on the side of YUBI to really contest that. That being said, the waves are desynced here, so YUBI has a small window to perhaps look in the top side. Instead, Smokeswag going to go ahead and send a recall. So team's going to be delaying their push so they can hopefully get their waves set up at the same time.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting here as we can see that the vision war is on the side of YOLO. They have been able to just completely find all of YUBI whenever they've been trying to sneak up on them and set these ambushes and just completely counteract them. And that has just been devastating to YUBI's plan. It feels like they wanted to, I don't want to say they wanted to cheese it, but they definitely wanted to be the ones getting the sneaky shots in and getting the nice hits before YOLO was ready for it. And YOLO's just been raring to go every single time. I mean, look at that Caitlyn trap placement. They know that Utility wants to flank, and it's already been cut off.
Yeah, really smart heads-up play from Warplack has really been showing mastery of the Caitlyn. This is a very difficult game to play Caitlyn in. You get hooked, you get point-and-click rooted, and you've got like a Vex diving on top of you. But so far, has looked very, very good and very careful. Now, the onus is on Scaling Copium to be able to break the space, but unfortunately, they're just pushing one wave and then the other wave and one wave and then the other wave. So far, YUBI's doing a great job of just like sending members to one side or the other side, and it looks like this Baron really not getting the kind of benefit that you'd like to see.
YUBI doing a good job to just force sieges rather than having to deal with a actual attack on the turrets has been very good for them. Like, they've just been able to make sure that they aren't able to crash into the tower. No massive hooks are getting landed. Unfortunately, Brian saying doesn't manage to find his target, gets half health very quickly after one Morgana root. That is like that. The length of time that you're stuck by that dark binding is kind of crazy.
Yeah, Baron completely gone. So we're unable to get any towers for Scaling Copium. This is actually like quite bad for them. Unfortunately, this was their best opportunity to really push forward. But this composition doesn't dive particularly well, right? They're not willing to dive into the Urgot and Maokai, and I can't blame them for that. But this does mean that there will be yet another opportunity for a scrap as we approach YUBI Dragon number 7, baby. It ain't a YUBI game without 7 dragons, and we're going to it in just another 40 seconds.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, Ash! Oh, you are so lucky. Morgana is far enough away that she can't hit you with the corrupted soil. But yeah, no, it's like I said, we were gonna get 7 dragons this game. I called it. I was like, this is going to happen. Again, with these Warplack trap placements, I hate them so much. They are so well done, where it just makes it near impossible to approach any of these choke points.
Yeah, 16 seconds now, and the onus is on red.
Dark binding found red. Oh my goodness, like that's what you mean. It's like the onus is on red to engage there, but he just gets locked in place and can't do anything.
All right, so it is Utility Monster with the flank. Might be looking for the ultimate Warplack.
Looking for the flash. Choke comes in, finds Blue 21. Brian saying getting brought very, very low. We do see red taking a lot of damage in this backline. Ash looking for the engage, throwing at the crystal arrows, but unfortunately Street Smurf is on their head. Stun comes out. That means that Jeff has to go golden to try and stay alive. Unfortunately, Civillock is not able to quite do enough damage. does manage to pick up the kill, but the ace in the hole and the Sejuani mean that unfortunately Ash is gonna fall, so Jeff is out of the picture. Vex, looking for the engage, is not gonna find it, locked in place for far too long, and that is gonna be a huge push on this mid wave. That could be enough time on those death timers to result in these towers falling. That magic damage is gonna do so much to these towers as the mages are unlocked right here.
Scaling Copium, denying all doubters, doing their absolute best, masterful play around the Maokai ultimate, able to continue to kite out and keep Warplaque hitting those essential targets. 10, 6, and 14 on the Caitlyn. Picked it B1, knew what they wanted, and absolutely delivered
my goodness,
as they
Brian.
crushed YUBI for the first time this game.
That is going to be a devastating win. First game ending in an ace as they managed to take Brian out before utility spawns. So that is going to be game number 1 going over to Scaling Copium. And you know what? I think people deserve a hit of Copium every once in a while.
This is wild. Scaling Copium 0-2 against YUBI all time in the regular season of Season 6. And they showed up, and they showed up to play. They systematically dismantled the kind of composition that YUBI wants to play in Game 1. I cannot wait to see, Sherigan, what the adaptations are going to look like going into Game 2.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, but I just know that Game 2 is going to be an absolute fire. And you know what? I think we're in this for the long haul. I think it's going to get really exciting, and it's going to go a while.